two antennas which the servicemen are assembling are necessary for the operation of the Cyprus-made Poseidon unmanned aerial vehicle. It is now serving in defense of the Ukrainian skies in the Bakhmut area, including Chasiv Yar. Poseidon is tested before each flight to ensure that the drone accurately fulfills all pilots' commands in the sky. It takes about half an hour to assemble the structure and calibrate it. Ukrainian servicemen are now preparing to launch the Poseidon unmanned aerial vehicle into the sky. It weighs about 20 kilograms and can carry about 3 kilograms, but Ukrainian servicemen are using it more for reconnaissance rather than carrying munition. Piloting the Poseidon UAV is not easy. For this reason, pilots underwent a 6-week course where they trained on practice models.
It flies over 150 kilometers. This is the total distance it can travel. It can fly away from you about 50 kilometers, and it works for about 2 hours. It takes off like a quadrocopter vertically. It rises to a certain height, the cruise engine turns on, and then it flies like an airplane. It lands in the same way. It flies up, stops, and lands like a quadcopter.
The Poseidon is very resistant to electronic warfare. When the signal is suppressed, the drone returns to the takeoff point, so it is almost impossible to lose it.
If the controls are pressed, it goes into automatic mode and returns home. In this leaves the electronic warfare coverage area and we take over control, either return it home or continue the mission. The same thing if the video is choked and we don't see the picture, then we don't lose control, we can either return or leave the electronic warfare coverage area.
With the help of the Poseidon, Ukrainian servicemen find places of Russian equipment, ammunition behind enemy lines. The 20 times optical zoom and 2 times digital zoom allows for effective reconnaissance from an altitude of 1.5 kilometers during the day and 800 meters at night.
We found Grad launcher, found self-propelled guns, sent the coordinates, everything was visible in the stream, and hit these targets.
The drone comes with a depth vehicle, but it can't be spotted by the enemy. It also can't be hidden in the landing. Therefore, a fundraiser for a more maneuverable vehicle was announced. Ukrainians collected money to buy a small but comfortable transport for the unit. The vehicle was handed over to the front with a bonus, loaded with food and sweets for the servicemen.
In literally 3 days, we raised money for a vehicle that we needed for work. They repainted it, put in chairs, made a table, and made a trunk on top for work.
Despite the fact that, according to technical characteristics, Poseidon can withstand 4 millimeters of precipitation, water isn't good for it, Ukrainian defenders say. The other day, they spent the whole night trying to dry out the drone because it got under heavy rain while on the road.
Трудом, так скажем, дотягнули додому, посадили.
We barely made it home and landed it, but we had to spend some time using paper towels to wipe off all the moisture that had gotten in from outside. Besides that, we finished our duty early, went home, and even at home indoors we were drying all the connections with hair dryers. Today it's already flying on duty.
Mykola was a computer science teacher before serving in the armed forces of Ukraine. He says his knowledge were useful at the front. The hardest part of being a pilot is taking off and landing. You need to feel the board and the control panel.
Knowledge of computer science helps in working with UAVs. We have a ground station. It's the same computer, and knowledge of computer science will come in handy here.
Pilots work in shifts, providing constant surveillance.
Хотілося б знайти якомога жирнішу ціль.
The goal is to find as big target as possible. We have already found self-propelled guns and MLRS. We will fly again. Perhaps we will find something more interesting. Maybe some kind of command post of the invaders.
Reported by Anastasia Tarnavska, Anastasia Volkova, Artem Voronin, UATV News.